soon as we get it passed out, so that, because it's gonna be 2 hours, so, maybe if we start at 8:05, you've got till 10:05 or whatever, so we're gonna try to get started as quick as we can. You will not need a Scantron sheet, so the multiple choice questions, we'll just do like we did the quizzes, where you just circle the A, B, C, or D. So people are always saying, do I need a Scantron? You do not need a Scantron sheet. You work your problems in Excel, so you do not need a calculator. In fact, you cannot use a calculator. In fact, all you need to bring is a pencil and eraser in your brain. That's all you need. Bring all your knowledge with you. That's really all you need. The exam will have 20 multiple choice questions, which will come from the material that we cover in the classroom. Primary way to review for that would be to look through, well, I'm assuming you've already read the book. If you haven't read it, you better read that. But if you're reviewing, I would review the topic outlines and your own notes that you've taken in class, and look through the quizzes that you've taken. Because I took some of those questions from old exams, and some of them might show up again, I don't know. So there'll be 20 multiple choice questions. When you answer multiple choice questions, read them carefully, but don't leave them blank. Sometimes people just don't answer. I mean, at least guess if you don't know. If you're not sure, answer it, maybe put a little mark out there, put a little question mark, and come back and look at it later. But in general, psychologists tell us that your first guess is usually your best one. So if you're not sure, be careful about going back and changing all your answers. I had a lady in a corporate finance class one time. We had a bunch of different exams through the semester. She would always change all her answers, and I could tell what she had put down first, but she'd erase it. And what she'd put first was always right. She always got them wrong. So we had 6 of these little exams. So on the 6th exam, I took her eraser away from her. I said, you're always getting it right. Quit changing your answer. You're second guessing yourself. So often your first hunch is probably your best shot. Then there will be 6 Excel problems, one of which really is 10 problems. So let's look at it this way. You've got 20 multiple choice questions, and let's just say that you happen to spend 20 minutes on that. A minute apiece. We'll think about this a minute. You got 120 minutes on the exam, so you got 100 minutes left. There's 6 Excel problems. The first one's going to have 10 time value of money problems in it. So each one's an individual problem, very similar to your practice problems. If you work your practice problems, you should do well with that. So we've got 10 time value of money problems. Then there will be a confidence interval problem where I'll give you will not need to go out to the website at finance.yahoo.com and download anything. I'll already have your returns calculated for you. So you don't have to get prices and calculate returns. So I'll give you some returns and ask you to give me the point estimate of the mean for the population and the confidence interval around that. So we got a confidence interval problem. There will be a problem on expected return and variance. This is like the ski rental problem that I gave you a handout on. We worked one similar to that in the lab on Monday, and I showed you how to use the sum product function if you wanted to keep from having to make 2 of those columns. I don't care how you work it on the exam, but if you want to use some product, you can. So it's expected value and variance of expected value. So that's another one. There will be an hypothesis test for a mean. I told you we will not do a hypothesis test for variance, so you don't have to worry about how to compute the test statistic for, a chi-squared distribution or something. I might ask a multiple choice question and ask you what would be the appropriate distribution for, say, a test of a variance or test of 2 variants. But we won't do an actual problem in that. It'll be a test of a mean. And it might be a 2-tail, it might be a 1-tail. In fact, each of you y'all will have different exams. I'll have multiple versions. So first of all, don't copy your neighbor because your neighbor doesn't know the answer anyway. And secondly, their exam's different from yours. So some of them may be 2-tail, some may be 1-tail, some may be upper tail, some may be lower tail, so on. So it's one of those.
So you'll be testing us on the t distribution, that's what you're saying? You'll be basically testing us on the T distribution.
Yeah, it'll be a test of mean, so it's a T-distribution problem. But like I said, it may be a multiple choice question about chi-square or the F-distribution, but we won't have to actually work those. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. There'll be a correlation problem. I'll give you some returns and ask you to compute correlation and test to see if it's statistically significant. That's what we did in the lab Monday. And I don't care how you calculate that correlation. If you want to use the function, the Corral function, or if you want to use the feature, the Corral feature in the analysis pack, doesn't matter. And finally, there will be a portfolio optimization problem. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. It's what we're going to do Monday in the lab. You'll use Solver to solve that one.
What was the optimization?
The portfolio optimization. We haven't done that one yet. We're going to do that one Monday. It's called portfolio optimization, where you run the solver. So if we count this up, if you really count this problem as really 10, we've got 15 problems. You're working in Excel. It says something like about 6 minutes apiece. So if you really know it, there will be people here who will be through in an hour. They'll be out of there and they'll make 100. There'll be some that could have been here for 14 years and still can't get it. So it doesn't seem to matter how long you spend. But what I'm saying is, when you're working those practice problems at home, you kind of got all night long to work on. When you're working problems on an exam, if you're working on something and you go, I can't remember how to work this, skip the problem and go to another one. Often working another problem, you say, oh, now I know how to work that, and you go back. Don't sit there and burn your time up. Don't burn up that 6 minutes. Now, it's not going to really come out that way, because you certainly can work these time value of money problems in less than 6 minutes apiece, but it will take you more than 6 minutes to work a portfolio optimization. So it really doesn't come out that way. The point is, you need to kind of keep moving. On some of the problems, like for instance, these are only worth a point apiece, these multiple choice. So that, 1 point apiece. I think those time value of money, they're worth 2 points apiece. But when we get into things like the optimization problem, the whole problem may be worth 10 points or more. What I'll do on those, you're working it in Excel and then just writing your answer down on the exam I give you. I don't ever see your spreadsheet, so I don't know how you work it. And let's just take something like correlation. Let's say I ask you to compute correlation, and you go and you tell me it's 0.78. And then the next question, right underneath that, I'm going to ask you to tell me the Excel function or formula you use to get that. So you position your cursor on that 0.78 and write down exactly what's up at the top of your Excel spreadsheet. So it might say CORREL, it might say something like this, A1, A4, something like that. If this is right, I don't care what this says. But if this is wrong, I oftentimes can look at this and see why. Maybe I look at this and say, oh, your range is wrong. So I can get you partial credit that way. So that's why I want to know on some of them, when you see that next part that says, write down the Excel formula or function you use, what I'm really saying is tell me what's on your spreadsheet. Now sometimes somebody will say, yeah, but you don't know where my data is, so this doesn't mean anything. It does to me. I can figure it out. Don't worry about it. Just tell me what you keyed there. For instance, if this is wrong and you see you have Kovar right here, I just know you ran the wrong function. So I can try to figure out why you got that wrong from what you write. So you'll see that on some of the bigger problems where I'll ask you to tell me what you actually keyed in, what your function was, and I can get you partial credit that way. Questions on the exam. Somebody asked me at the morning classes, are we going to have a review? I said, you just did. Your review is work your practice problems. Work your practice problems for all of this. If you can work the practice problems, you can work those. They're the same as the practice problems with the numbers change. For those multiple choice questions, look at your topic outlines, the notes you've taken in class, what you read. As you can see from some of the quizzes we've had, I like to go and find a list where it says the properties of an arithmetic mean are, and that's in the book, and I just go type that little list and I make one of them wrong. And then I say the following are properties of the arithmetic mean except, so one of them's wrong. And so and I mean, when the exam's over, I can tell you what page all those questions came from, because they came literally right out of the book. That's where I get them. Questions?